Welcome to Jesu Otaku's Top 20 Countdown of the most deliciously evil villains in anime. What does deliciously evil mean exactly? Well, seeing as there are many different kinds of villains out there, from funny or terrifying to the repulsive or crafty, it didn't seem fair to try and make a 20 best villains list. So I settled on a list of villains that carry the deadliest combination of both being heartlessly evil, with not an anti-hero bone in their body, but also being really awesome to both the audience and their slobbering toadies. In the back of our minds, we all want these wicked juggernauts to win, or maybe just hang around some more so they can scare us peeves. These are the deliciously evil villains. They make being bad look so good. Now, I limited the countdown to one villain per series or franchise, so some series that had multiple countdown-worthy contenders got a little gypped. But I think it's only fair not to repeat shows and bore you, right? Also, I wanted to showcase these devils at their finest, so instead of always using the dub for background footage like I do for reviews, I did the extra legwork and subbed the Japanese versions for a couple of entrants whose English counterparts just couldn't do them justice. Oh, and quick warning, spoilers may be present, but this really can't be helped in a countdown show, so keep on your guard if something you haven't finished yet comes up. Because this list is bound to be totally subjective and personal opinion, and I know I had to leave off a lot of great puppy-kicking Diablos, several of which are featured in the intro trailer video, which has no actual list makers on it, in case you were wondering. So if you think you can do a better job than me, please post your video response to this countdown, telling us about your favorite baddie. One villain per video, please, although you may submit as many videos as you want, just so long as you don't feature a villain that was already on my countdown, because then I'll know you didn't watch it, and I'll set my flying monkeys on you. So without further gilding the lily, or plucking the dandelion, I guess, let's roll.
There is someone here.
Klaus Vulcan, returning from mission, sir.
What happened to everyone? We didn't see anyone on the lower deck, and we
I've
looked.
been waiting for you, dear.
Delphine Ericlea, from Last Exile.
Oh, I know. We'll have you come to the guild for a nice little visit.
No way, not him.
You will accept our invitation, won't you?
Delphine and the contender to follow her are minority inclusions on the list, which explains their low ranking, but still fully deserving a mention. In Delphine's case, she's the only woman on the list. I'm not sure why, seeing as 90% of villains fitting this archetype in American animation are female, but they're pretty hard to come by in anime. Female villains in anime tended to be either striking, but not psychotically evil enough, or evil enough, but too completely repulsive to include. The exceptions to this were villainesses that were ultimately too minor to be on a list consisting only of big bads. Point is, Delphine is definitely one beauty queen who's not playing with a full deck.
The guild is law, the guild is order, it's the world itself. The guild is a world of eternal stability and tranquility.
Eternal stability and tranquility!
Bearing blue blood, black lips, and red roses, the maestro is very proud of her appearance and holds no quarter for peasants who won't bow to her every whim. She keeps the war between the nations below her in full flux, both to keep herself entertained and use the resultant profits for the finer things in life.
This is marinated catfish. It takes 100 gallons of first water to remove the mud.
Down below, while we're surviving on sips of filthy water, you're using first water for.
How naive you are.
Still, she's more than just a pompous witch. The full force of the guild remains at her beck and call, thanks to some snazzy brainwashing technology she's developed. She can and will dispose of servants on a whim without so much as smearing her rouge. Heck, she's not even beyond stripping her own brother of his free will, and knowing Dio, you'd have to have some real power to break his spirit. She also takes great delight in conquering the king of the rebellion, Alex Rowe, who planned to rob her of the powers of exile and end the war, but ended up playing right into her hands and apparently other parts of her. I guess it's a good thing she can't get to the rest of him while he's like that.
Alex, you will now recite the Mysterion of House Bassianus. Now, Alex.
I don't know it.
You must know it.
I don't.
Answer me, Alex. No one can resist the truth serum, not even you. Good boy. Thank you, Alex.
This arrogant move is unfortunately her downfall, because you just plain don't mess with the Crispin Freeman Captain Harlock combo opponent, much less try to make him into a topiary. She's so short-sighted in her hedonism and just plain creepy rather than scary that she slips to the bottom rung of the countdown, but like exile itself, she remains a force to be reckoned with just when you think you've gained her favor. Delphine is one maestro who will make you face the music sooner than you think.
So at last, the Puppet Master finally appeared. I shouldn't be surprised, though, considering that you and I met a long time ago.
Fabrizio from Slayer's Next.
Oh yes, you'll do nicely.
Fabrizio is another minority on the list in that he's the only evil child character. From here on out, it's charismatastic grown men. But everyone knows evil children are an important part of any good villain league. It was just hard to find one for this list, because they're usually too cute to be bad A, and are almost always never the mastermind to be reckoned with. The only exception to this wasn't really evil, and as it turns out wasn't really even a character, but that's a tangent I shan't tangent today. The other great exception is the fanatical Hellmaster of Slayer's lore.
Why don't you watch where you're running?
I'm sorry.
Aww, he's a little pockpicket. He's even sweet to Martina, and goodness knows that's a feat.
A cute little boy like you is a villain?
Seriously, I must have the wrong character. What an adorable little... Wait, Gov's dead? How did that happen? Gov, this sandbox here, couldn't be killed even by Lena's strongest attack, cut through the super powerful Zelos like a butterball turkey, and this kid, what, snapped his fingers and blew him up. Actually, Zelos works for this kid, and he's no kid. He's the 5,000-year-old entity responsible for starting the War of the Monsters' Fall, and countless other plots in an effort to destroy the universe and return all to the Sea of Chaos from which it came. I mean, I know they tell you to dream big at that age, but that's a rather hellish ambition.
Taking a child's form is so convenient. You humans are amusing. With this form, you never suspected me for even a second.
Touché. Lena's little D&D party is now officially screwed in the face of the master of the underworld. Fabrizio blinks and turns Gowry into an evil minion. Fabrizio grins and resurrects an entire massacred city's population to turn on them. Fabrizio farts and... Actually, that might be pretty funny, but he doesn't do that. Instead, he shatters the lives of all our heroes like little glass marbles. And of course, I'm not being metaphorical again.
I'm okay.
Amelia!
Buried in the stream of time is where your power...
You son of a...
Almost got you.
There's pretty much no way to beat this guy without using cheat codes, but fortunately for Lena and Gowry, there is a god mode in this RPG, and that god is none other than the Lord of Nightmares. Fabrizio learns pretty quickly that he shouldn't play with matches at his age, and gets burnt so badly that his negative cool points drop him to 19th place here. Although he doesn't seem to mind too much, does he? The fact that it took the creator of the Slayer's verse to drop his keister is nothing to sneeze at, though, that's for sure. When Fabrizio asks if you can come out and play, buddy, it's a safe bet that you are never coming back. Vicious from Cowboy Bebop.
It's 32,000. I'll be waiting.
Right off, you can tell this guy's bad news if just the idea that he knows the man who's housing Faye for the evening sends her die-harding into a shower in a paranoid rage. Actually, the fact that his name is Vicious at all is pretty impressive. It's weird because I know the name means, like in dictionary terms, depraved and reprehensible, which is very true of him, but doesn't it sound like a drag queen's name? I mean, I can just hear, "Hi babe, they call me Vicious." Nobody could pull off that name, I'm sure, but just one look at our Red Planet Corleone here proves me dead wrong.
You're trembling.
Who are you? Tell me.
Vicious.
Okay, Faye, I'm scared too now. Vicious is undoubtedly the most heartless villain on the list, because he values nothing yet wants everything. At first, he seems to show loyalty to the Syndicate in his relentless hunt for the traitorous Spike, until we learn that he hates his masters and his vendetta against Spike is a personal one, of course, over a woman. So, okay, he loves the woman. No, he has no qualms with having her killed on several occasions through the years either. Well, at least he shows affection to his pet birdie. Nope. In this light, Vicious is truly terrifying.
And you will shed tears of scarlet.
Our only insight as to why comes in his confrontation with a close war comrade who he sold down the river. Prison really made a man out of Gren, or... well, actually, it made a woman out of him, but that's a long story, and all he wants are answers.
We were comrades. I believed in you. There was nothing to believe in.
Vicious, look out!
There is nothing in this world to believe in.
This serpentine response is all the reason he needs to pursue power no matter the cost. He will control the Syndicate, and there's nothing anyone that doesn't have a black hole for a blood-pumping muscle can do about it. He will slaughter all who cross him, and once you belong to him, leaving is no longer an option, as Spike learns the hard way, gaining freedom from his past only through a shocking death.
I'm the only one who can keep you alive. And I'm the only one who can kill you.
Maybe Julie and Spike's betrayal caused him to close off his heart, or maybe it was war trauma, but ultimately, no matter how scary Vicious is, he's a pretty big stereotype, just pulled off really well, and has a very limited role in the story, bumping him down several spots. Still, if I saw Vicious in a dark alleyway, making fun of his name would be the furthest thing from my mind right before he slices it in half.
From the smell of it, we just missed them. But all's not lost. Mr. Suitengu says he's got an idea where they might be headed.
The hell's that supposed to mean?
Who can say? You know the boss. He's just full of mysteries.
Choji Suitengu, Speed Grapher. Given the universal tendency for every nation's culture to criticize its own biggest flaws through art, it's no surprise that a massive amount of anime features money-grubbing, hedonistic bad guys with two faces. I'll let you draw your own political conclusions about that self-criticism. The thing with these villains, of course, is that they're all moronic, thick-lipped buffoons who would never have a place on this list, an honor for the cool and scary. None, that is, save for Suitengu. Because this guy is rich, this guy is cool, and this guy is scary. Actually, given his appearance, attachment to music boxes, and yin-yang relationship with the hero, he has more in common with Vicious than any of the aristocratic cads he himself despises. Though you'd never know he hated money from the way he acts. He practically smokes it. Not a metaphor, he really does toke up 10,000 yen bills.
Welcome to a night of decadence and desire.
His profession is truly one of vice, managing a depraved fetish club for the insanely rich where any desire will be granted. He diligently scrapes up skyscrapers full of money from his enterprises, and come time to